Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just trying to read my handwriting here. Got a special guest coming up on the program. I think it says, what does it say? Oh, I know what it is. Jack Bristow with Tandoor. We're going to be talking about National Drink Wine Day.
That's my
this
day.
Weekend. Yeah, that's this weekend, baby. National Drink Wine Day. Well, we're going to be chatting with him all about that coming up in a bit. Did you know that there's only one food that does not ever spoil? Do you know what it is?
No.
Honey. That's why I can't call you honey, because you were so spoiled.
Fiction can be fun.
It can be. Hey, a retired British priest has written a book called The 100-Minute Bible that teaches you all the, quote, really essential parts, end quote, of the Bible in just over an hour and a half.
Isn't the Bible essential in its entirety?
I think the whole thing. And I think there's even something in there that says no one should take away from or add to. Don't know that was a good idea. We'll see how that goes. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. Let's do the whole darn weekend. Saturday, February the 18th, Battery Day. Cow milk with flying in an airplane day. What? Cow milked while flying in an airplane day. What does that mean? I don't know.
You milk a cow in
Apparently.
an airplane?
Eat ice cream for breakfast day. National Drink Wine Day. I know what Heidi's celebrating. National Hate Florida Day.
Okay.
Pluto Day was discovered on this day by Clyde Tombaugh. And World Whale Day. Sunday, the 19th, Best Friends Day. That's from SpongeBob the SquarePants. That's a real holiday now. Chocolate.
I have a tattoo from SpongeBob.
I know you do. What does it say?
Says, if you want to fly, all you need is friendship.
Oh.
I think it's lovely.
It is. Chocolate Mint Day, Sunday. Introduce a Girl to Engineering Day, Sunday. Also, National Lashes Day and Iwo Jima Day. So, a lot of stuff going on this weekend. Get out there and celebrate.
John and Heidi.
Hey, it's John from the John and Heidi Show. Join me and my wife Heidi at 80s in the Sand, a week-long 80s event this November 11th through the 18th in beautiful Punta Cana. That's in the Dominican Republic. You'll get to meet and listen to 80s bands like Loverboy, Starship, Howard Jones, and many more. Plus, meet 80s icons from the movies like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and several others. Get all of the details at 80sinthesand.com. Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person. That's 80sinthesand.com, promo code RADIO.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. The greatest college pranks of all time. You ready for these?
Yes.
Louisiana Tech University. Students programmed the campus clock tower to play dueling banjos.
Oh, funny.
That's pretty cool. Harvard University, 1933. The staff of the school's comedy magazine stole a sacred cod, a pinefish that hangs above the Massachusetts House of Representatives. So they stole a thing. That was in 1933. Ohio State University in 1993, students sent out a press release for a new charity known as Arm the Homeless, which would provide homeless people with guns for protection. Oh, man, that was at Ohio State in 1993. MIT, what did the smart kids do? Well, they started an internet hoax that claimed that one could grow bonsai kittens in a container.
Okay.
That's kind of cool. I want to do that now. Cornell University, back in the 1980s, students invited numerous politicians to pay homage to Hugo N. Fry, founder of New York's Republican Party. Most of them wrote back, despite Fry being a fictitious character they all made up. That's absolutely awesome. In 1975, Caltech, you ever heard of them?
Yes.
Students used their computer to print out 1 million pre-filled entry forms for a McDonald's contest that one could enter, quote, as often as you wish. They changed the rules shortly thereafter. So a Caltech student in 1975 entered 1 million times in a contest. I wonder if he won everything. Sydney University, 1956. During the Olympics, a student posed as the Olympic flame runner and ran through the streets with a torch of burning underwear. So people thought that was the flame runner. They're like, oh, he's here. He's early. I'm like, wait a minute. It's not him. University of Wisconsin-Madison. Student body presidents promised to buy the Statue of Liberty and bring it to Wisconsin. The replica lasted 3 weeks before it was burned down, by the way. So they made their own fake. In 2005, MIT students turned an entire building into a life-size first level of Super Mario Brothers that you could actually play. That would be awesome.
Oh, that would be fun.
And finally, Caltech, 1961. During the Rose Bowl, the students decided to switch the Washington Huskies cheerleaders' direct flip cards to show goofy versions of their mascot. The word Huskies spelled backwards is Caltech. What? The word Husky spelled backwards is not Caltech. Oh, I see.
Maybe that was the prank.
So they had the word Huskies spelled backwards, and then they also had cards that spelled out Caltech. Okay, I gotcha. So
Okay.
when they held up the cards for the opposing team, they whatever.
Anyway.
Here you go. Good move on. Couple of fun. There were some fun ones in there, and then I should have stopped early. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. Sometimes you're so desperate for a drink, you could go hold somebody at gunpoint to get one. That's what happened in Hamburg, Germany. Told the store clerk he was having a bad day. Then he took out a gun, a .44 caliber pistol, and demanded a single can of beer. The man was arrested 1 block away from the store. In his hand, a cold but now empty beer can. In his other hand, .44 caliber pistol.
Wow.
When asked, why would you commit an armed robbery and only steal a can of beer? The man said, well, since I had the gun, I only had one free hand. Well, he was thinking anyway.
Yeah,
about
he
that
was.
part. Did you have any pockets? I don't know. That happened in Hamburg, Germany. Coming up, we've got your moment of duh, and we've also got your scoop of the day on the way.
John and Heidi.
Sometimes a whole town can be celebrating the moment of duh. 14-year-old Caitlin Campbell couldn't spell colurium, whatever that is.
I don't know what
Lost
that
in a
is.
recent national spelling bee. However, she was good enough to place 8th, and that was good enough for somebody to put a congratulatory billboard honoring her in her hometown of Amarillo, Texas. Too bad the well-intentioned son of a gun couldn't spell her name. The billboard read, "Congratulations, Caitlin Campbell, for making Amarillo proud." Unfortunately, they messed up the name and didn't put the P in Campbell. So Lamar Outdoor Advertising donated the space, said they plan to replace the downtown sign with a correct spelling because, you know, it's only the right thing to do. And you're probably wondering what colurium is. It's a term for eye lotion. So there you go.
Alrighty.
Now you know that too, and you know how to spell her name. I think it's kind of funny that she spelled something wrong, and then they congratulated her by spelling something wrong. That's a little bit ironic.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. Interesting things going on overseas, Heidi. Take a listen to this. Austrian police arrested a man who was dressed like Adolf Hitler. And he was seen wandering around the dictator's hometown, sporting the infamous Hitler mustache and hairstyle and uniform. The man, who called himself Harald Hitler, was arrested under a 1947 Austrian law, which makes it illegal to promote Nazi ideology. So he just wanted to, think, hey, if anybody's kind of checking out Hitler's hometown, I'm going to hang out here looking like Hitler.
That's a bad idea.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. I'm just saying, of all the people you want to emulate, not him. University of Chicago's Center on Aging studied people who lived to be 100 and made a list of their most common traits to help others learn how to live long. You want to know how to live long? Things that'll help you get to 100 the most are to be trim but not too thin, to have more than 4 children by the age of 30, and to be a farmer. So none of those are going to work for me. Hey, if you think Burger King is not romantic enough destination for Valentine's date, think again. If you lived in Israel, for some reason, Burger King restaurants there had a special deal for adults on Valentine's Day, but only after 6 p.m., Burger King Israel was selling adult meals that came with 2 Whoppers and 2 orders of fries, along with 2 beers and an adult toy.
What?
Yeah. The company would not specifically say what the adult toy was, but they say it was a satin mask or a feather duster, or a massager.
That is fantastic.
Yeah, so there you go. BK Israel. Way to go. Have it your way. Tom Brady is going to charge up to $1,200 per autograph at an upcoming show. I think that's kind of ridiculous. $1,200 to get a person's autograph?
But is he going to give it to like a charity or something?
He says he's going to charge that much per autograph. He's probably going to keep. I don't know. Maybe he's going to keep it. I have no clue. No clue. Harrison Ford. Remember he was in a little plane crash with his airplane?
Yeah.
That
He
was
was in a
back
couple,
in
wasn't
2015. He's under investigation for mistakenly landing on a taxiway instead of a runway at John Wayne Airport last Monday. So, Harrison, quit flying. I'm just saying. We love you. Keep acting. Quit flying. Company in China is keeping track of employees on business trips by requiring them to send selfies holding the day's local newspaper. After taking a selfie that clearly shows the newspaper's date, employees must send a photo to a company chat group as proof that they have started their workday. So that's trying to keep these business trips, business. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer's recent troubles continued Tuesday when he referred to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as Joe Trudeau. So, I knew it started with a J. Justin, Joe. You know that dude from Canada. Hey, get ready for the videos as you scroll past your Facebook feed to play sound. After initially muting videos by default, Facebook announced this last week that videos on their social network will now have sound enabled. Facebook said it's making the change after getting positive feedback from users that they've already used to test the experience with. I would not be one of those. As I'm scrolling through, have you noticed how many videos are on Facebook lately?
Yeah, lots of them.
And I don't know if it's just my page, but as I scroll through, like, everything's videos. I'm like, Facebook is trying to be YouTube. I'm like, guys, just be Facebook. We used to like Facebook. Go back to what you used to be.
I'm hardly ever on there anymore. I go on, I post my stuff, but I don't scroll through it anymore like I used to. I go on every day, I post my things, and then I go about my business.
It used to make people happy, and nowadays it's like it seems to make people
mad.
It
just really upsets me, so I don't even go on there anymore.
One last thing. Driving is becoming so last century. Since the end of World War II, getting a driver's license has been a rite of passage for teens. But that's less and less the case these days. The share of people in their teens, 20s, and even 30s with a driver's license has dropped significantly over the last 30 years. Not just in the U.S., but in other parts of wealthy nations as well around the country. A high proportion of internet users say that transportation research is showing that many of these people are utilizing the internet and utilizing other forms of transportation, and they're just not driving. When I was a kid, I couldn't wait to get my driver's license.
Oh, my gosh. I was so excited.
I remember our son, he didn't go out right away and get his. Our daughter was.
Our daughter was
she was
ready.
Like, can I get it today?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's her birthday. Let's just wait. All right. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. We've got a special edition of the program because today is a special day. It's National Drink Wine Day, which is pretty darn cool. And to help us celebrate National Drink Wine Day, we have Jack Bristow. He's with Tandoor Chef. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. Now, thank you very much for chatting with me on National Drink Wine Day. My wife, by the way, is a huge fan of wine. I like to say she's a wino, but that doesn't sound very nice, does it?
Well, no. I mean, I guess not in that context, but it's okay. especially on this day of all days.
It is. Yeah, this is the good day. Now, let's talk a little bit about the history of National Drink Wine Day. How did this day come about? Do you know?
So it was started as a way to celebrate and spread the love of wine, which is not very hard to do. I think everybody loves wine. Don't you like a nice glass of wine?
Wine is good.
Sit back and enjoy with your meal.
And it's biblical. You read, that's the first miracle Jesus did was turned water into wine. So, it must not be too bad if even Jesus was on board.
It's very important. We celebrate it every February 18th, every single year. It's so good. And the other thing is, here's what's incredible. The average person drinks about 730 glasses of wine every single year.
Wow.
Right? So it's like 45 and 0.6 gallons of wine every, that we drink. Isn't that incredible?
That's a lot of wine.
It's a lot of wine.
And that's the average. So there are some people that don't drink much. That means there are others that drink even more than that.
There are those of us that make up for the others. That's right.
So let's talk about the health benefits of drinking wine, because this is something that's very interesting to me. It's actually a very healthy thing to drink.
It is, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure you've heard news stories in the past where they talk about, the health benefits of wine, having a small glass of wine with every dinner meal. And it's because there are really some outstanding health benefits for this. For example, so there was a study a while back of 2,500 men over the course of a 29-year period that found that wine drinkers have a 34% lower mortality rate than beer or spirits drinkers.
Oh, wow. So that's a good thing. Mortality means dying. So, yeah, it's really good.
I'm really here just to suggest that people drink more wine for your health.
Hey, it's because we care about you.
That's it, exactly.
We love you, and if you love you, you would drink more wine.
You would drink more wine. Get yourself up to that 730 glasses of wine a year. That's what we're trying to say.
Now, let's talk about the different pairing of wines, because that's something that I've always found fascinating. Like you'll go to a restaurant and they'll suggest, with that meal, we suggest this wine. Is it difficult to figure out what to pair with wine, or is that a fairly easy thing to do?
I think there's some tried and true standards that you can stick by. If you're eating red meat, drinking a red wine goes with that. If you're eating something like a chicken or a fish, a white wine would go with that. So you've got those basics that you can kind of always go by for rule of thumb. And then from there, it can get a lot more delicate and complicated, because sometimes even that white wine with your fish may not be the right flavorful wine to give you a complement to that fish.
Now, do you have any suggestions for people like me? My wife absolutely loves wine, and I'm not going to say that I dislike it, but it's not something that I've ever said, man, I sure could go for a glass of wine right now. I would like to drink more wine, and as funny as that sounds, people listening are probably going, what? That sounds really weird. There are people that are trying to quit. I'd like to be able to enjoy a glass of wine a little more, so my wife and I could have that in common. Right now, she'll drink wine, and I'm usually drinking something other than wine. Is there a way to actually become a wine aficionado?
I certainly think so. I think a great way in is starting with white wines. Usually the biggest complaint that people have when you're starting to drink wine is when you drink a red wine, it may be a little too deep, too bitter almost.
Yeah. White
wines are usually sweeter, and so that's more of what our palate is used to. So starting with a sweet wine, a white wine, a Pinot Grigio or a Gewürztraminer is a great door in if you want to start drinking more wine.
So where I need to start is probably with a juice box.
Or a juice box.
Here's
right?
a grape juice box,
for a little while.
It's from 2 weeks ago. You'll be good. It's aged 2 whole weeks. Well, let's talk about Tandoor Chef and what that is. What do you guys do at Tandoor Chef?
So Tandoor Chef is this it's a second-generation family-owned and operated company. They run in frozen aisle for Indian cuisine. They produce this restaurant-quality meals from anything that's vegan to vegetarian certified, gluten-free. They cover a range of options. And Tandoor Chef is some of the most incredible Indian food you will ever have.
That's awesome. And does it pair well with wine?
That's a great question, because that's what's really exciting here. It goes back to your question about how you pair wine. So Tandoor Chef developed a pairing app called tcpairing.com. You can go there. If you've got one of their products, you can look at a meal and see what wine might pair with that meal perfectly.
That is brilliant.
It's fantastic. But on the opposite end, let's say you've got that bottle of wine. Let's say you have that Gewürztraminer that we're talking about. That's a white, it's a sweet wine. But you don't know what's going to pair with that. You can kind of reverse engineer that and say, this is what I have. And it's going to tell you exactly what Tandoor Chef food you should have, an Indian meal, that they're perfectly with it.
Absolutely brilliant. What a great idea. Because, there are a lot of people, they don't know. I'm like, how do I know what's going to taste good with this? So that's cool that there's an app. Is there some place you can go to get that? Is it like just in the App Store, or what is it called? How do we find it?
You can visit it online at tcpairing.com. It will download like as a widget to your phone, so you've got it there actively.
Well, very nice. I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us today, Jack. It was fun to visit with you.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
And thank you for listening on a special day today, folks. Again, this weekend we're celebrating National Drink Wine Day, so it's a big day. Heidi is probably going to be starting her celebration soon. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Are you looking for senior care for your mom or dad but don't know where to start? No one knows your loved ones better than you do, and no one knows senior living better than A Place for Mom. They've helped thousands of families find the right place for their loved ones. The Senior Living Advisors at A Place for Mom partner with thousands of families every month, listening and offering local knowledge and advice to help find the best senior living communities across the country. Call 1-800-471-5173. That's 1-800-471-5173.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Pantheon is the largest building from ancient Rome that survives intact. Never been there.
Me either.
I wonder what they have in there.
I don't know.
A bunch of cool stuff, I'll bet. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The Vatican Swiss Guards still wear uniforms designed by Michelangelo.
Oh.
Dates back to the 16th century.
Really?
Yeah, apparently that was some forward-thinking stuff there. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The smallest island with its own country status is Pitcairn. It's in Polynesia. It's 1.75 square miles. So Pitcairn. I don't know how you'd say that. Pitcairn? Pitcairn? I don't know. We'll have to go there sometime. Send a postcard. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The wettest spot in the world is located on the island of Kauai.
Where's Kauai?
I don't know. It says Kauai. Is that? It sounds to me
Kauai.
like Kauai. Is that in Hawaii? Is that how you say that? We should have you read things. This place, Mount Waiizihili something, consistently records record rainfalls at the rate of nearly 500 inches per year. It's a whole lot of rain there in Kauai. How did you say it?
Kauai.
Kauai. That's the one. There too. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Earlier in the program, we mentioned Burger King Israel. Now we have Burger King United States. Oh, no, actually from Canada, Calgary, Canada. Police there in Canada are looking for a stolen hamburger from Burger King. It's not one off the menu, though. It's one off the roof.
Oh.
Yeah. Crooks have stolen a gigantic, enormous, inflatable Burger King Whopper from the roof of a Burger King restaurant in Calgary, Canada. Franchise owners say the thieves went to a lot of trouble to steal this 6-foot-tall burger. It was securely fastened to the roof. They had to climb up onto the roof, deflate the giant burger, then untie it, and then climb back down with it. The burger is valued at $2,600. What are you going to do with something like that?
That's just funny.
But you can't blow the thing up anywhere. They're like, hey,
When
I know where that
I
came
was a
from.
kid in the town that I grew up in, remember at McDonald's they used to have the statue of Ronald McDonald
Yeah.
outside?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Somebody stole the statue from McDonald's and they found it tied up and gagged under the bridge.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh,
I thought it was hilarious.
you crazy kids.
It wasn't my idea, but I wish it would have been because
You
that's
know,
funny right there.
We read an article not too long ago where there was a giant Shrek stolen off the roof of a Burger King. Remember that? That was like 2 years ago. Oh, maybe more than that. 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So apparently Burger Kings are having some issues keeping their inflatable things on their roofs. You might want to get a security camera or something. Coming up, we're going to talk about minding your manners and losing some weight. I'll be all ears on that one in a bit.
John and Heidi.
Only 2 in 10 Americans say they're ready for the unthinkable. Are you ready for a natural disaster? What would happen if you were not able to go out to get food for your family during extreme weather? How long would you be okay without power and without access to get more food? Wise Company has the ultimate emergency preparedness pack with enough emergency food kits for a week, or upgrade to be prepared for a month or longer. Call toll-free 888-552-3759. It pays to be prepared. Learn more at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Men's Health Magazine has an article here. It says, mind your manners and you could lose weight. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Dutch researchers recently found that big bites and fast chewing lead to overeating.
Yeah.
In a study, people who chew large bites of food for 3 seconds consume 52% more food before feeling full than those who chew small bites for 9 seconds. The reason? Tasting food for a longer period of time, no matter how much of it you bite off, signals your brain to make you feel full sooner, according to the scientists. So what they're saying is, if you snarf down food like me, you're going to get fat like me. So I can attest to all of that. You know, I used to work at a job where I had a very short lunch break in the evening, like an evening break to eat. So I trained myself to eat really fast for that, because I would go back, and usually I couldn't even get my whole break done because, you know, we'd get busy and I'd have to go back to work. So I would microwave a pizza and I would eat it really fast, and I still eat really fast.
Yeah, you do. And it makes me eat really fast because
So we need to slow things down.
I get nervous.
Maybe what we need to do is somehow set a timer or something, come up with a plan. We'll have to think of how we can do that. Now that we know, we can come up with a solution.
I like that.
Yeah. Coming up, we're going to talk about Samson, you know, the guy from the Bible.
John and Heidi.
You'll never guess who is in the news these days.
Who's that?
Samson, you know, the dude from the Bible.
Okay.
He's in the news now
Okay.
because they think that he might have been the first to have an antisocial personality disorder. So let me explain, for those of you who don't know who Samson is. He's a pretty dysfunctional guy by today's standards. First of all, he killed 1,000 Philistines once, then he went around gloating about it. His girlfriend Delilah tried to have him killed 3 times, yet Samson stuck around for some reason, continued to play Mr. Macho. Even as a kid, Samson was a terror, got into fights all the time, starting fires. So why would Samson be like that? Well, according to somebody from California, a psychologist there, Samson may have been the first recorded case in history of antisocial personality disorder. Symptoms of this condition are set out in his 900-page manual from the American Psychiatric Association. Doctors use that to diagnose mental illness, and they're saying, you know what? After reading all of this, I'm pretty sure that's what Samson had. So now we know.
John and Heidi.
Do you shop online? Do you like to save money? Save money with Honey. Let me explain. Honey is a really smart tool that's free to use. I'm not really an online shopper. I get as many things locally as possible, but there are some things you can only buy online. So when I heard about Honey, I thought, what the heck? It's free. I'll give it a shot. The very first time I used it was for a domain name. It's usually $12.99. Honey searched the internet and found me a discount code, so I bought it from the same exact website for just 99 cents. So I saved $12. It's absolutely free, so what do you have to lose? Check it out at SaveMoneyWithHoney.com.
John and Heidi.
For those of you who go places, that's not us, a ranking by frequent flyer booking site Reward Expert, never heard of them before, they show which U.S. airlines are most likely and least likely to get your bags where you're going. The study found that among major U.S. airlines, Delta is least likely to lose your luggage, only 0.21% of the time. United Airlines came in second at 0.32% of the time. Bottom of the list, who do you think loses the most luggage in the transportation field?
I have no idea.
American Airlines.
Oh?
I've got this entire story on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And I've got enough time. I want to read this other thing here. I'm trying to squeeze as much in as I can. I thought this was a cool story. What color of ink is your pen when you're writing? What color of ink do you use? Black, blue, red,
It
green?
depends on what I'm doing. I prefer blue.
And my pens are usually black pens, because if I'm going to be like sending something, I want to make sure that it shows up. But I'm looking at my writing over here. I've got blue pens, so I have black and blue pens. But what color ink you use in your pen may affect your thinking. According to research from the University of British Columbia in Vancouver, Red ink sharpens focus, making it good for detail work. Blue ink enhances creativity, which is ideal for brainstorming. And black ink apparently is just boring because it's not on the list. So here's the thing that's funny. I don't know if I still have the note here, but somewhere I had it. Our daughter answered the phone when I was gone one day, and she decided to write a note, and I don't have it
It's
here.
okay. I saw it.
It was a pink piece of paper with pink ink.
It was orange ink.
Orange ink. I couldn't read it.
It didn't show up.
I was holding it up to this light over here at different angles. I'm like, what does this say? How do you do this? I couldn't figure. I finally had to wait to have her translate it to me, and I'm like, you didn't even need to write a note. You could have just told me all of that because we can't read this note. Don't use orange ink on pink paper. Trust me.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I've got some good news for you, Heidi.
Okay.
Could be the best news of the millennium.
All right.
It's good news. Your morning coffee might slow down aging. Wow.
Huh.
A new study published in the Journal of Nature found that older people try that again. Older, what was that? Found that older people.
Are they from Cowie?
Yeah. Older people. Found that older people with lower levels of inflammation, which drives many, if not most major diseases, had something in common. They were all coffee drinkers. I've got a link to the story because this is good news and you're going to want to drink that or you're going to want to read that. That's what I don't.
You know, I disagree with that completely because my grandparents drank tons of coffee. Okay. I mean,
so
my grandpa, like 3 and 4 pots a day.
Think about how old he would have looked if he didn't, is what this study is saying.
But
he would have looked like one of the California raisins if he hadn't drank that much coffee.
Diseases. Didn't you say it like...
Yeah, it helps.
Inflammation that causes diseases?
Yeah,
they
like that.
both had cancer and heart disease.
Yeah.
So I disagree with that. But whatever.
You can read the story and see what you think. Let's move on to something more fun now. Last week, the NBA released new rules preventing teams from mocking and ridiculing each other on social media, which I think is a good idea. But it didn't take long for the teams to poke fun at these new regulations with a little sarcasm by being obnoxiously nice to each other. Because that's not illegal. I can't get a fine for being really, really, really nice to you. Some of the hockey teams got involved in the tweeting, too. It's funny stuff, and I have a link to this at facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great weekend. Thanks for listening to the weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.